So this is just a quick video that I'm doing some software stuff. I haven't got around to doing any model making yet. I lost a viewer yesterday, a subscriber, because he sent me a message saying there's no videos about models. I'm like, there will be, guys. They're all here to be done. Just give me a minute. Just busy, just really busy with Christmas and everything. So what have I got here? Well, because I've migrated everything to the new PC, I've had to get some stuff off the old PC. And one of the things I've had to get off is the old Multiboxer. And of course I'm here thinking I could subscribe to Classic and I could have a play. The reason being that somebody said to me that, oh, you couldn't possibly do what you're doing with this on Classic. And I've read the terms and conditions from Blizzard. I think you can. It isn't reading any memory from their process. It isn't like hooking into anything. It isn't doing anything with their process except sending input to it. Well, I can send input to it. Look, I've got these things and they send input to it all the time and I pay for the pleasure. So I don't think there's an argument that I'm not sending input to it. And if you recall how the Multiboxer worked was, I played with A, S, W and D and the number keys as a normal player, and then the other characters were played with the numpad. And all I would do was, there was a common set of buttons which were make them follow me, make them mount up, okay, which they just press the whatever key it was, that I have set for that option on the action bar. And the other option was then pick which party member with home, end, page up, page down or whatever. That picked whichever other of the 4 party members with me it was. And then I had their action bars, 0, 1, 2, 3, whatever. Now, that was, and obviously I had common ones as well. So what I had was, if I had, excuse me, I'm going to scratch my eyes. If I had a cast I know would take an amount of time, I could control that immediately after that cast was finished, or the timer for that cast was finished, I would start another action for that character, rather than me having to pick their button again, because it was getting a bit hectic going, tank, sunder, challenge, heroic strike, sunder, and then home, flash heal. Now remember, I couldn't do things, the nuances with it that a player could. So when you come to cast heals with a priest in Classic, for example, you often want to get to very nearly the end of the cast and jump because you don't need to land. Well, I couldn't do that. I wasn't hooked into the process. I didn't have any information. It wasn't a bot. And this is something that's come up time and time again in comments on those videos. It wasn't and isn't a bot. It's just a Multiboxer. Okay, there's footage this Christmas of a Multiboxer on retail Classic, actually making a Christmas tree or something. He's got one character moved to the top and they spam chain heal to the character. So yeah, there you go. What have I done though? Well, this is not my build server for the bot. So my build server, the continuous integration server, is actually this one, which is a completely different an Ubuntu server machine, and it builds really quickly. What this has though is a binary copy of my built version of Mangos, which you can get from GitHub. I'm not telling you anything more about how to get that from GitHub, but I have a copy here, and this is one I have built from source. This is the source, this is the game source, this is their stuff. I've built it. This is why I've been ill. Anyway, so I can go into WoW, bin, and I can do start the realm, start Mangos, and in my actual machine I have a copy of WoW. and I have myself a nice high level character. Now I have a level 100 on a level 60 server. Well, it's because it's the GM. So this is my GM character that I created. I've given her the might set, I think she's got. What's she got? So those of you might remember the character editor I wrote. Well, yep, this is where I've added the gauntlets and all the things and all the bits and bobs. So she's dual wielding Vishkag the Bloodletter and the Brutality Blade, because you know it's clearly hunter loot and she's a warrior. But yeah, this is my copy of Sea Mangos. The character is pretty vanilla apart from that. Haven't discovered anything, but I can do things, you know. So Telly Iron Forge. Let's go and see Father Christmas. There he is. There's great Father Winter. There he is. I get my buff for the minute. Oh, I've accidentally recruited the other bot. So here is. So this here, this character, is a bot. That is the player bot that's built into Sea Mangos. So you can summon a party around you. That's absolutely not what I want. So basically what this character does, look, so it sprints after me like that while it's trying to keep up. That's a mage. If it was a healer, it would heal me. So I would get hit, you know, I'd turn GM off, and then you know, things would become active to me and they'd hit me, and then this character would join in, helping assist with the kill. And that's absolutely not what I want to do at all. What I want to do is actually play each role myself. So it's like a one-man band. I'm playing all the instruments. That's the difference between a bot that will do it for me, or hook into memory. So you know, other bots, so Glider for example, would hook in and read the health, and it would read the chat, and it would look at the position and the orientation. Well, I can't really do that because this connects itself to a MySQL database back end, and it doesn't update that every time. If I save player, then it would write it to the database, but that's too slow. You cannot have what you would call a real-time feedback loop on a database like that. It's backed by RAM, and I haven't yet being the operative word, re-engineered the server fully for that, for my way of working or what I want to do. But I do have the code for the old class as it was. It opened the process, and you know, it waited for the main menu or main window. It then captured the window, and then, you know, started sending input to it. So it had this set of key changes, and as I did key changes, it would post them to that window. That is how this bot, or this Multiboxer, worked. It had no logic. It had no see, this is the trouble. A robot is the wrong word for what they are, because we now think of a bot as being something that has some form of artificial intelligence ish, but the original meaning of the word robot was they had no intelligence. They were automatons. They were robotically following a set of instructions one after the other, and that's not what I want at all. I want them to do what I'm saying to do. So I would pick, you know, the healer, whatever. I would pick the paladin, whatever. I'd pick a damage dealer, do whatever. I didn't get round to setting up their rotation. I kind of had a faux rotation built in, as I've mentioned a minute ago, but none of it really came to fruition. Now is the time. This needs cleaning up. This is, I mean, it's just the Visual Studio project. It was a Visual Studio 2010 project, in fact. It's now been updated to 17 communities, or to 2019 community. So I'm on Visual Studio Community. I'm going to update everything. I'm going to get rid of this direct writing out to the console here, put in maybe some decent logging. I'm going to put each of these functions into their own thing. So starting the process, getting the process window. They should be separate functions. They aren't one thing. The actual loop, so this is actually spun off into a thread. There's one of these for each. There's one of these for each process I start. Well, I can do lambda init capture now and do all this a lot more simply. I can have a separate tool for working out the profile and working out the key mapping. So this is what the key mappings were. So my input was whatever, and it mapped to whatever else. Well, I'd like those to be enums so I can read them better. And if not enums, then these numbers. But these numbers need to be translatable. I could really do with a GUI, a window showing of the Windows layout, sort of keyboard layout. Hold the button down, that color, that light up, and then holding down another key and that light up, and then that going to be an entry on that screen. I could really use that tool. That's probably an evening's work for me to do just that tool, get it all nice and sorted out. That might be something I do with the SDL wrapper that I've already blogged about this week. But this is the administrator account. I need to do some other stuff. So the other work I was doing with the server was directly connecting to the MySQL backend and introspecting the data that was in Mangos. So this is the Mangos data. It belongs to Blizzard. Absolutely none of this belongs to me. I absolutely adore this game. I spent so much time in this world, in this game. And I would spend more in it if I didn't have to pay a subscription, because I felt that, playing it very, very, very intensely for so long and paying so much, I had to give up at Wrath. So I gave up at Wrath of the Lich King. I went back briefly with my mage to Warlords of Draenor. Didn't see the pandas at all, didn't even look at the panda stuff, just looked at the shattering of the world. Cataclysm I looked at very briefly, missed the pandas, very briefly looked at Warlords of Draenor. Haven't even looked at Battle for Azeroth. I just prefer the classic game, the original vanilla game. And I just, yes, I get why it's part of the pay, because the Blizzard experience, the maintained, looked after server is fantastic, but I just think that it could be a lot more as it was. This is the exact same experience as I want back then, And okay, Blizzard have done the fantastic new client, but really, did I need it? No. And did I have a fear of missing out? No. So here I am. But the whole purpose of my play is this. So multiple copies of this. I'm going to think about a client server. There's actually already stubs for a client and a server in here. Child process hosting stuff. So what they would do is you would start up a server version. So you'd either start the client or you'd start a server. And basically you would transmit from one place to the others. Now that might sound a bit daft, but I now have a 12 thread 32GB desktop PC sat idle. I have a 32 thread 32GB server here sat idle. If I wrote the client process just so, could I have it that these are all running virtual machines that are all running copies of the client, that are all receiving their information from me, and I could multi-box a raid? I don't know. We could see. It's certainly a challenge that I'd like to try and take on. I think it would have to be slowly worked up. So what I was multi-boxing before, I did Scarlet a lot. I did Alderman a little bit. But I never went any further than that. I sort of lost this thread of interest. It took so much time to do stuff. But if I put the tooling in, if I put things in, I can pick it up and put it down now. There's enough computing resource here. I've got enough sort of leeway from the wife to actually have downtime. I didn't have that 2 years ago when I looked at this. I was absolutely so busy with work. Now I am as busy with work, but because of legally having to leave the work where it is, I actually get more evening time. So we'll see where we go with this now, guys. That's my quick ramble for the day after Boxing Day. I do hope those of you expecting model videos will stick around. There will be one. The Fallen Nat is waiting. I just need to find, a couple of solid hours and get on with things. And I'm going to watch a film this afternoon. Going to go and watch Welcome to the Jungle 2. So there you go. I've got to find time to watch Rise of the Skywalker. So many things to do. From Jedi to Azeroth to Airfix. It's just so busy. Bye for now.